Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Adidas Ace 15 Plus Primeknit CG turf shoes in the solar orange, white, and black colorway. Now inside the box they do include a string bag to go along with the shoes themselves. The string bag is solar orange in color. It's a perforated mesh material with black strings. You're going to find your Primeknit branding going down the side in black and your Adidas football logo there at the bottom. Other than that, all you're going to find inside the box, as you guys can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly and we'll take a closer look at what is essentially the turf variation of the FG-AG Ace 15 Plus Primeknit. Now in today's video, we are of course going to take a closer look at the colorway, talk tech specs, take a look at the weight of this shoe, as well as talk about how these things fit and feel on feet. So if you are interested in learning more, please stick around, watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $150 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair for yourself, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk about performance. Now, like I mentioned at the start of the video, this is the turf variation of the Ace 15 Plus Primeknit. So instead of the standard Ace 15.1 upper, you're getting a Primeknit upper, which feels quite a bit different. Primeknit, for those that don't know, is a knitted upper. It's essentially Adidas's variation of Nike's Flyknit to make a direct comparison. And what they've done here on the Ace 15 Plus is actually a really nice kind of implementation of a knitted upper. At first I thought it was a little bit too simple, but once you actually get an opportunity to wear these things, they're very comfortable and it's kind of a no-nonsense style upper. The upper is soft, it's thin, it's flexible, it moves naturally with your foot, and like I said, just feels really good from the get-go. There's pretty much no break-in time required with this shoe, and I would argue that they are more comfortable than the standard synthetic Ace 15.1, so that's definitely a positive. In terms of touch on the ball, they are a little bit thinner than the standard Ace as well, but you do get a slightly padded sensation due to that Primeknit kind of mesh-like base layer for the actual synthetic itself. You're going to find that there is a polyurethane layer on top, giving it a not so slick feel on the ball. There's extra layers running through the kind of edge of the forefoot and toe box area, as well as along the laces there, just to reinforce the high stress areas of the upper, as well as make it a little bit more durable. You're going to find the non-stop grip dots across the upper as well when you look really closely. Kind of difficult to see on this colorway, but they are in fact there. It's supposed to allow for better grip on the ball in wet weather playing conditions, which may not be as necessary, being that these are turf shoes. If there's one downside to this upper, it's not the touch, it's not the feel that it provides, it's not comfort, it's general responsiveness. There's not a lot of kind of structural integrity in terms of just firmness to the synthetic itself. So what you will find when you make kind of quick, hard lateral cuts is that there is some stretch to the upper, kind of giving it a rollover sensation where your foot's not necessarily staying in place. It's moving or shifting to the side ever so slightly because the actual synthetic itself is also shifting. So that's something to keep in mind. If you want more of a lockdown sensation, this isn't necessarily going to provide that. But if comfort is your thing and you're maybe a fan of leather shoes and you want to try something synthetic, you're really going to like how these feel because they're very comfortable. Has an off-centered lacing system, as you guys can see. The tongue is entirely made from Primeknit, but it doesn't have the same kind of covering on it. So it's very flimsy to a certain extent, but still feels pretty good. Just like the 15 Plus models or the Primeknit models from Adidas right now, it has like all the cutouts going down the tongue so the laces kind of pass through. I don't necessarily dislike this. It does a good job of keeping the tongue in place, but what I don't really like is how it leaves the laces exposed directly against your foot every time it crosses under the surface of the tongue. So because of that, you can get a little bit of lace bite. And if that's something that does bother you, it is a fixable problem. All you have to do is unlace the shoes and relace them, not cutting through the middle of the tongue every time. I'll show you what that looks like a little bit later in the video. So again, not a big issue here with the Primeknit models from Adidas, but something that I honestly wish wasn't there. It also makes it a little bit difficult to tighten them when they're crossing over in between the actual tongue. So moving on to the back of the shoe, very similar construction to what you're going to find on the Firm Ground AG model. Internal plastic heel counter, which is obviously the one main difference. The Firm Ground model does have an external heel counter, but they didn't implement it here. Here it's fully internal. You have the extra padding, kind of the side of the ankle bumps there that you don't really notice while you're playing. I know some people complain about them. not something that bothered me personally. It's got the same cut, so it's a very deep fit in the heel, which gives you a nice secure sensation when you pull the laces tight, at least at the back of the shoe. The inside heel liner is a kind of smooth synthetic material with good padding as well. Very, very comfortable against your foot, no complaints there. The insole is non-removable on this shoe, sorry. It looks like it's removable from here, but it's actually not. It's glued in. You could remove it if you wanted to. It appears to be pretty much the same thing, minus the pattern at the bottom, but it will get the job done. I would expect at the $150 price point for the insole to be removable, but it isn't on this particular shoe. No big deal. It's not going to slide around on you. And again, if you really did need to remove it, you technically could. It's just glued in there pretty loosely. So that's something worth mentioning. But like I said, for the $150 price tag that they're asking for this shoe, yes, it's a lot of money, but you have to take into consideration that the FGAG model retails for $275, so it's almost double the price of these guys. So if you are looking to try some of the new Primeknit models from Adidas, this is definitely the cheaper way of doing so. It's essentially half price, but again, it's not an FGAG shoe. As far as the outsole is concerned, it's a foam midsole that runs through the heel and midfoot, where the forefoot is left pretty much completely blank. You have a thick rubber outsole, being that this is the turf variation. And keep in mind, they only made this particular shoe in a turf variation. They did the Ace 15 Plus Primeknit in turf and the X 15 Plus Primeknit in indoor for whatever reason, not really sure. But like I said, this is the turf model, and it's kind of unique to this particular shoe. I haven't seen it on anything else from Adidas thus far, at least in terms of what I've tried. And it features kind of these circular rubber nubs running through the middle. It's a similar layout, or a layout that's mimicking what you kind of see on the FGAG shoe, but obviously the studs are not as long, and they're made from kind of a hard rubber material. And then going along the outside edge, you have this kind of, I'm not even sure what you'd call these little kind of spiky tread pieces that kind of are scattered around the outside edges in the forefoot area, and then of course at the very back of the heel, it's all that spiky pattern. So this is definitely best suited for turf, or even on artificial grass. It's not going to have that same bite as an AG shoe would, but it still will provide decent grip on artificial grass, which is the plastic blades of grass with the rubber pellets. But this is really best suited for turf, which is kind of that rough carpet material. A little bit outdated now, but there is still plenty of it around, and that's kind of what this particular shoe is intended for. Should you want to use this as an indoor shoe, or even for street soccer on concrete or something like that, you may be able to get away with it. None of this middle part's going to wear out, but I would be a little bit concerned for this particular pattern here wearing out pretty quickly, just because they do come to points. So if you were to use this on concrete or any kind of hard, firm, abrasive surface, you may find that the actual sole will wear out pretty quickly. So if you are buying these, I would make sure that you're going to be using them pretty much exclusively on turf or artificial grass in order to get the best longevity out of the outsole as a whole. So that's pretty much it in terms of tech specs and performance features that you're getting from the Ace 15 Plus Primeknit CG turf shoe. Really good turf shoe. $150 is at the higher end of things, but again, you're getting that new Primeknit upper from Adidas, which, like I said, is very good, very comfortable, and I personally prefer over the standard Ace 15.1. In terms of weight, these are definitely not the lightest turf shoes money can buy. In fact, it's actually the first thing that I noticed when I held these things in my hand for the first time, is that they feel fairly heavy. So I'm going to weigh this pair for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9 US. So we're going to throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 11.15 ounces, the equivalent of 316 grams. So just above the 11 ounce mark, which is not necessarily heavy to the point where they're unwearable, but definitely a lot heavier than what you're going to find from a lot of high-end turf shoes, especially in this particular price range. So if you're looking for that ultra lightweight feel on your feet, these are certainly not going to provide it. But if comfort and just general feel is more important to you than the weight of the shoes, you shouldn't have any problems wearing these shoes even at the plus 11 ounce kind of weight range that they fall into. Aesthetically, I think this is a really good looking shoe. They essentially took the upper straight off of the firm ground model, and minus the heel counter, it's the exact same thing. You get to actually see the knitted pattern of the Primeknit beneath the kind of clear polyurethane layer on top, which looks pretty cool. It really shows off the knitted material well, which I've always liked about any of the knitted models, whether it be from Nike or Adidas. So that's kind of a cool element. I like the solar orange color that they've incorporated here. It's lightest kind of running through the middle, as well as the laces kind of match the middle portion of the upper, whereas all the reinforced areas are a slightly darker shade of orange. So again, it's kind of showing off the layers of the actual construction of the upper, which is kind of a cool little thing. You're going to find that you have your white Adidas stripes on the lateral and medial side. The tongue is black in color with the Ace logo there in kind of a dark gray. The back portion of the shoe is a nice matte black, including the heel liner. You're going to find the Adidas logo in kind of a dark gray at the back of the heel. And then moving on to the midsole, it's black in color with the outsole being predominantly white and orange to match the rest of the shoe. So I think it looks just as good as a turf shoe as it does as a firm ground shoe, but that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and of course what the sizing is like. All right, so here is a look at the Ace 15 Plus Primeknit turf shoes on feet. On my left foot I have the stock orange laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot I have a pair of black and gray Crackle SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, they feel very similar to the FG-AG version of the shoe. The upper is soft, it's thin, it's flexible, and it feels really good from right out of the box. Really no break-in time required. It has the same general shape in that it's kind of a high volume fit. So these are going to be suitable for most foot types, even if you do have slightly wider feet. In regards to stretch, they will give ever so slightly just because the upper is so soft and flexible, being that it is a knitted kind of mesh type base. But again, really no complaints in regards to comfort. The only complaint that I have is the actual responsiveness of the shoe in that it is a little bit too flexible, so you do get kind of a not so locked in sensation when you're making hard cuts and change of direction, just putting a lot of force on the outside edges of the actual upper. In regards to the comfort level, the one thing that I did want to mention is, of course, how I've laced them up. So you can see that on my left foot, I have them laced the normal way where the laces actually cut through the center of the tongue. So part of the laces in the middle are actually sitting directly against your foot, which isn't necessarily uncomfortable, but it's not something that I personally really like the feel of. So if you do want to change that, you can on these shoes. You just unlace them and relace them without passing through the middle of the tongue. So it's all directly on top, which does make them a little bit more comfortable in my opinion. You're just not feeling the laces directly against your foot, which again is a preference thing at the end of the day, but it is something you do have an option as with any of these Adidas Primeknit models. In regards to width, like I mentioned, they're going to be suitable for most foot types. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the Adidas Ace 15 Plus CG turf shoes. Again, if you're interested in more info, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find the high quality images of this shoe that I took myself, as well as buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $150 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding the Ace 15 Plus Primeknit turf shoes, leave them down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer shoes. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.